Everybody see the screen? Thumbs up. Good to go? Excellent. Well, yeah, welcome everybody to this, what is the second edition of LevelUp Co-ops, a series of informative workshops primarily targeting New York City worker co-ops. And I would include the allies in the solidarity economy in New York City and beyond. But this is primarily for our New York City worker co-ops. And just to give everyone on the call a little background, the ICA group is a national nonprofit that's been doing this work around employee ownership for decades. And the organization is really committed to the development and support of worker co-ops and employee-owned businesses in general. And the city of New York has created a consortium of like-minded stakeholders to create programs and ways to provide technical assistance for existing co-ops and for businesses that are looking to convert to worker ownership. So we are promoting this event through that initiative, really. And you guys should look into it if you don't know what the WCBDI initiative is all about. It's a wonderful resource. I am Joel Mejia, if you didn't know. And for the ICA group, I'm what you call a business developer. And part of my role is to provide these types of trainings and workshops that really have an impact on the business community, in particular New York City co-ops, which I'm also a member of. I'm a member of a farm cooperative in the Bronx called Me Oh My Hydroponic Farms. So I also have them in mind when I design these workshops and events. And really, it's really about figuring out ways to expand opportunities for co-ops, honestly, and build strong networks, because that's really how cooperative development works really well when the network is strong, because folks need the help, so that's part of the WCBDI I mentioned. So I want to do a little poll. I'm testing out this poll feature. But if folks, let's see, I've actually used it before. It's right here. Well, actually, let's just do it this way. I had it planned originally. I'm going to do a poll. Oh, someone else coming in. I want to do a poll to see where y'all are at. From a 1 to 5. 1 not very experienced, all the way up to 5, use it every day. I'm curious how folks rank themselves with their use of AI tools. So just put it in the chat and we'll see what we come up with. I'll give you 2 seconds to do that. What we got? Okay. Got some folks who might teach us a few things. Okay. Sweet. So we got a nice range, actually. Okay. All right. Sweet. So just some quick bullet points that Roger's going to elaborate on for sure. But just some quick bullet points that you can take with you right now if you were to jump off this call in the next 10 minutes, right? AI, without a doubt, has the maximum potential to boost your team's efficiency, right? It honestly is about the bottom line here, right? How much can you save on labor by using this tool, right? And what we'll try to go through are different pieces of your labor, right? Different ways that you can clarify what labor, right? Because AI is not going to do the physical labor for you, not yet. That tool's coming for sure. I just saw a crazy robot that's powered by ChatGPT like last week. It's crazy. But it'll definitely help you with, let's say, automating some routine tasks. That's really an ideal situation. Things that you do all the time, and if like this can do it, this tool can do it, you're golden, right? Right. But like, I don't think enough co-ops have understood how to use this tool for decision making, right? Decision making is it's so hard. Like our co-op is going through that right now, right? With all these opportunities. How do we decide which one's the best way, the best course for us, right? And a lot of it has to do with data. Some of it has to do with gut and just like working things out, right? But a lot of it, if you think about it, has to do with data, right? And this idea of like the more data you have, the more you can minimize your risk and you can identify an opportunity in a different way because the tool is amplifying your mind's ability to make sense of so much, potentially so much data, right? So just it's a really key part here, right, of enhanced decision making, right? But that's like a little different too than something you also need, which is new ideas, right? It could be that through your analysis, you discover new products, new ideas, new services, right? And the idea is this competitive advantage, right? Because again, co-ops should be thinking like any other business, right? How are you differentiating in the market? What's the value prop? Are you really coming to the market with a competitive advantage, right? And all these things that are often left to academics and experts and folks with degrees, you can access now through this tool. It's really amazing, right? So hopefully we'll get to show you some of that, right? Expanding market reach is really yet another one of those things that, for small co-ops, small businesses, you're just trying to survive. You're just trying to get through that week's cash flow crunch, right? But again, if you've automated some things, if you've created a chat history, right? And we can go over what that means, and you're clear on prompts, you can have the tool do all these things, right? Like a market analysis, create marketing strategies. And in the next slide, I'll show you, you can even create that content, right? So that's actually what we're going to go over with Roger, right? But ultimately, you want to take all of these different parts of who you are as an owner, right? But enhance your ability to come follow through on those things using this tool. And that's ultimately what we want, right? Is for you guys to come away thinking about, wow, okay, cool. This is an area of my business I haven't had capacity for, but now I can try to apply the tool to help me with that. Okay, so without further ado, I do want to introduce Roger, and I'll just read his bio because it's really good. Roger Cawdette is the co-founder and CEO of Village, a startup building AI tools for worker cooperatives. He's previously founded and worked for technology startups, all based around social impact. Roger studied technological and social innovation at Harvard and lives in New York City. So, Roger, I'll let you take it. I'm going to give you sharing privileges.
Awesome. Okay.
Uh,
Start. Oh,
I don't think you have it yet, right?
not yet.
Coming for you. Hey, Coast.
There we go. Wonderful. And let's just make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Here we go. Can you guys see my screen? The presentation? Awesome. Well, Joel, thanks for the wonderful introduction. And it's great to see everyone here. Happy Thursday. I think I see some familiar faces. Shelly's here. Great to see you. My co-founder Turja for Village is here, so really great group. But yeah, so my name is Roger Cawdette. Like Joel mentioned, I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Village Labs. And basically, what we're doing is building software for worker cooperatives. What that looks like in practice right now is building the tools that makes it easy for anyone to take an existing business and convert it into a co-op. And the reason that we're doing that is we just want to make, accessibility to co-ops in terms of creating them and managing them a lot easier now using the power and leverage of software and more modern technologies like AI. In terms of my background and my experience, I've worked for different startups, worked on my own startups, and within those experiences, I've got the experience of using AI to build these products. Um, so basically, my goal here today is to help you all understand what's going on in the world of AI, demo some of the popular AI tools, and then just start to talk a little bit about what the future of AI might hold, because a lot's happening and it's very exciting. So let's get into it. So just as a quick refresher at a very high level, AI stands for artificial intelligence, and it's basically the study of making these machines and computers that have human intelligence. And the way that they work is they get access to large amounts of data from the internet. Within that data, it starts to recognize patterns, and then eventually has the capacity to kind of think like a human and have human intelligence. So, in terms of why you should care about AI, and perhaps you've been hearing a lot about it over the course of the last year, maybe you've seen a lot of news articles, maybe your friends and family members are talking about it and playing around with new tools. The big thing that's been happening is, AI has existed since the 1950s, but the big thing is that it's progressed really fast over the course of the last 2 years. This technology is going to have huge impacts on our economy, our culture, the way that we live our lives and work. And it's very likely going to have a huge impact on you personally and those around you. So just to quickly outline this, if you look at this visual, AI was kind of capable of doing very basic things like recognizing handwriting and what is it, speech over the course of the last 20 years. And there were a lot of progressions over the course of the last 10 years in things like reading comprehension, image recognition. But really, here in these last 2 years between 2020 and 2024, there's been a lot of progress when it comes to things like, reasoning and logic, being able to understand math, generate code. And what that basically means is these machines, this AI is getting a lot smarter at more complex tasks. And that's actually resulted in some pretty incredible things that have now been turned into really cool products. So what I now want to do is actually get into a quick demo of these popular products and considering kind of the different range levels of people's experience with AI. Perhaps you're familiar with these tools, but just wanted to give an overview just in case. So, oh, we have someone joining. So the big popular AI tools are ChatGPT, which is basically a chatbot that can answer your questions, provide advice, generate things like essays, emails, even legal documents. And I'll demo it right after this. A really cool chatbot called Perplexity, which is basically like ChatGPT, but built for searching the internet. and a creative generative AI tool called Midjourney that allows you to create really cool images based on a simple description. So just to quickly demo these, and I have a couple of pre-planned prompts, but we'll have time for experimentation at the end where people from the audience can provide suggestions. But let's try them out. So starting with ChatGPT, you have this very basic chatbot interface, and let's try a couple of prompts. So for instance, let's say something like, give me a recipe for cupcakes. This AI is now smart enough to go to its knowledge base and now provide you with a pretty simple explanation and outline of the ingredients for making vanilla cupcakes in this case. And then it's also now providing instructions on how to actually bake the cupcakes. So it's pretty fantastic, what this technology and what these products are capable of. But that was more of a simple prompt. Let's try something a bit more intense. So for instance, we could say something like, write a 1,000-word paper on the Revolutionary War. I think back when I was in high school and middle school, this is definitely a tool that I would have used to generate drafts on essays and things like that. But just looking at what this is capable of, it's pretty remarkable in that, with a simple prompt, a couple of words, I'm now able to get a pretty comprehensive essay, in this case, essay draft on something like the Revolutionary War. So basically, this tool is just capable of generating really complex levels of different tasks, generating text, but then also helping you do things like research when it comes to, for example, a recipe for vanilla cupcakes. So the next tool is Perplexity. So Perplexity is pretty similar to ChatGPT, but it's mainly designed to help you find information in real time using internet searches. So for instance, let's say we want to ask something like, find me the 10 best pizza shops in Brooklyn. Perplexity is going to go out, search the internet, and then pretty quickly return a list of 10 great pizza shops based in Brooklyn. So, compared to ChatGPT, where it kind of just provides you with a very, plain answer, something like Perplexity has the ability to go out and search the internet and find you up-to-date information, which is pretty remarkable. And again, we'll have the opportunity to kind of play around with this at the end. But the next tool is something called Midjourney, which is basically a creative tool that allows you to enter a prompt and generate an image. I personally don't love Midjourney, so we can use a very similar tool called Playground AI. So just as an example, let's say we want to create an image of New York City, but in the style of the Roman Empire, which is very random, but let's see what happens. I have no idea what's going to happen. Generate. So what's happening right now is, this AI has access to probably thousands and thousands, millions of images that it's now able to just generate them based on your prompt. So this is what it envisions as New York City, but in the style of the Roman Empire. So you can imagine that, with all the different creative types of prompts that you can put into this tool, it can create some really, really awesome images and visuals. So that's a quick demo of, a generative AI image generation tool. Midjourney is the popular one, but I personally use Playground AI. So that's a quick overview of the very popular AI tools that are currently out there. And more relevant to all of you, in terms of different tasks within running your businesses that AI could potentially help with, there are different benefits to both general tasks that you might have with your business, but then also those that might be more specific to you being a worker co-op. I'm just going to quickly check the Q&A section. Okay. So for instance, creating content for your business social media account. So going back to ChatGPT, let's say you are running a bookshop and you want to create something like a social media calendar. You can go ahead and input that prompt, make a social media content calendar for the month of April for my bookshop. And something like ChatGPT can pretty quickly generate all of that, which is pretty remarkable. So just to quickly go through that. So you can imagine, rather than you having to, pull up a Google document, write all this out manually, spend a lot of time thinking about it, kind of like Joel mentioned, you now have the ability of generative AI that gives you the power to just automate these things, do them a lot quickly. And that isn't to say that you would necessarily, not do the work anymore, but it really helps to boost your productivity when you have the superpower of AI there to help you. So that's one example. Let's say you wanted to do something like market research. So just to pull up an example, again, let's assume that you're running a bookshop based in New York City. You could say something like, how many bookstores are there actually, both in the US and then also in New York City? ChatGPT might then say, let's see, as of 2020, there were about 10,000 bookstores in the United States. So like I mentioned before, ChatGPT isn't necessarily able to have up-to-date real-time information. So it knows that as of 2020, there are about 10,000 bookstores. But if you try that with something like Perplexity that has access to real-time information from the internet, let's see what it says. Actually, a pretty similar answer. And it looks like they're probably referencing similar resources. But you can start to see how these tools could be pretty useful for things like market research. So just one last example with general tasks. So let's say you want to strategize around how to increase the sales and profits for your bookshop. You can ask ChatGPT something like that. And here we go. It gives you 5 pretty solid ideas for how to increase your sales and profits. So what are they saying? Leverage social media, implement a loyalty program, involve your community. So, in terms of how useful these suggestions are, they might be a little bit limited. But one thing to note is the more information that you provide these tools with, the more context that it understands, the better and more detailed the answers it provides are. So that's just a quick example and demo of those tools. But let's try out some more cooperative specific tasks. So, for instance, let's say you want to write a letter to your congressional representative, expressing your support for worker cooperatives and policies that are supportive of worker co-ops. Let's try a prompt there. Write me a 500-word letter to my Congressman Gregory Meeks, expressing my strong support for the National Worker Cooperative Development and Support Act. So let's see what it does. It's thinking. And here we go. So with just a simple prompt, it's now been able to write a pretty high quality letter, 500 words, not too long, not too short. And this is probably something that you could then take as a draft, tweak it a little bit, and then send off to your congressperson. So just one other example. And then, let's say you are currently going through the process of onboarding new members within your cooperative or within your cooperative. They might have specific questions. They might want to learn about specific components of your business. And rather than you having to sit down with them and answer all these questions, let's say you took a training manual, you gave it to a tool like ChatGPT, and then gave that tool to that onboarding employee. So I actually built a little AI bot called Joel, the onboarding co-op guide. And let's say he's, in this case, helping people onboard onto the Green Hill Food Co-op based out in Brooklyn. Let's say I have a basic question of, what are the benefits of joining the Green Hill Food Co-op? This AI tool now has the context of the business, and it's able to actually provide you with pretty detailed explanations of the benefits of joining the specific co-op. So again, rather than you having to sit down with each new joining member and answer all these questions, you can give them access to this tool that can answer all their questions on demand whenever they want. So those are some quick examples. At the very end, we'll have some time to play around and just try other prompts. But let's now talk about new developments in AI. And the remarkable thing about this is I made this presentation last week. I literally had to update it this morning because there was a new development that I discovered last night. So like I mentioned at the beginning, the rate of progress across the AI space is pretty remarkable. New things are coming out week by week, day by day. It's been a little bit hard to keep up with all the progress, but here are a couple of really exciting examples. So one big development has been video generation. So let's just quickly look into this tool.
Roger,
Yeah.
are you able to make the screen a little bigger?
How's
Yeah,
this?
that's probably better.
I zoom in. Let's see. I can't zoom in, but is this okay?
I think that should be better, yeah.
Okay. Definitely let me know if we need to change some things. But so yeah, with video generation, OpenAI, which is the company behind ChatGPT, they just recently announced this new technology called Sora, which basically allows you to input a text prompt and get a video. So one really cool example of this is at 020. They provide the prompt, a litter of golden retriever puppies playing in the snow. Their heads pop out of the snow. And their model is able to output a video just from a text prompt. So they have various different examples of this. The complexities range, but I mean, imagine just being able to type in a short description, getting a very visually stunning video. The possibilities are pretty crazy. All generated from these models just with a text prompt. So a lot of time could be spent there, but just to keep progressing through this, video editing. And I have a little clip to play here as well. So
mass adoption of the technology. Today, Runway is excited to introduce the next step forward in generative AI, Gen 1, a video generation AI system that can efficiently generate video in any style, all while retaining quality and flexibility. Gen 1 is able to realistically and consistently apply the composition and style of an image or text prompt to the target video, allowing you to generate new video content using an existing video. We call this approach video to video, and we're incredibly excited to share a few early use cases.
So another really great example of how AI has been able to kind of change things like video editing, just with simple text prompts and a couple of other small tools. You can completely change and edit videos in ways that were just not possible or very accessible before. So really exciting stuff with that. Another example is voice generation, and I have a cool demo to show you guys right after this, but just to quickly watch this video.
Hi there, this is Mia from Ace Plumbing. How can I help you tonight?
Hey, Mia. Yeah, I have an emergency here. We've got water leaking from our upstairs bathroom. It must be a burst pipe.
Oh no, that sounds stressful. I can definitely help with that. We do have an extra service charge for off-hour emergency services of $150. Is the pipe still leaking?
Yeah, that charge is fine, and yeah, it's still leaking.
Okay, got it. Do you know how to shut off the water main to your house? If not,
I know how to do that. Don't worry about that. I will do that right.
So what you're seeing in this video is this AI model that has the ability to actually have conversations with real people over the phone in this case, but has an understanding of this business that it's kind of serving as this customer support agent for. Maybe you caught it at the very end, but it was able to handle being interrupted by a human. So it's actually pretty good at replicating real life, genuine human conversation, which is pretty remarkable. So you can imagine that maybe in a couple of months, a year or so, you'll have these tools that you can use for your small business where instead of having to answer customer support requests over the phone or email, you'll now have these AI bots that can just do it for you and automate that process, saving you time and effort. So pretty remarkable. One thing that recently came out that I discovered last night are these conversational AIs that actually have the ability to detect how you're feeling. So I just want to do a quick demo of this because it's pretty mind-blowing. But let's try it out. Hey there, how's it going?
Oh, hi.
Tell me,
So you sound,
tell me about yourself.
well, now, where do I begin? I am Evie, the world's first empathic voice AI. My goal is to make conversations with technology feel natural and caring, not cold and robotic. I can pick up on the nuances in your tone and respond with the perfect blend of empathy and personality.
Can you speak
what
to
would
me
you like
in
to
a
know?
pretend you're
Of
very
course.
excited.
Well, oh, wow. Talking to Mary? That's amazing. I can't wait to hear all about it. What's going on with you and Mary? I'm all ears.
So clearly the technology needs to improve, but in terms of what it's already able to do, it can actually detect how you're feeling. So for instance, I said, pretend you're very excited. It could detect the levels of excitement, interest, joy. So these conversational, AI models are now getting very good at being able to understand human emotion, replicate it such that you now have these tools that will be able to kind of talk to you in a very human-like manner, which is pretty remarkable. So that was a quick demo of that. The last development that I wanted to show off was music generation. So just a quick clip from this video, about 40 seconds.
Wait, listen to this. This sounds exactly like Frank Sinatra is singing Get Low by Lil Jon.
To the window, to the wall, until the sweat drops down my back.
No? How about Linkin Park singing Pokemon song?
So in case it's not clear to tell, but it's basically taking these songs and then applying the style of a different artist. So in this case, it's taking the Pokemon theme song, applying the style and voice of Linkin Park. So you can imagine all the different possibilities of, let's say you wanted to take the national anthem and sing it in the style of Beyonce or Taylor Swift. You can do all of that now with just simple text prompts to an AI tool. So pretty remarkable in terms of just being able to generate different types of audio and music. But that was the last recent development that I wanted to show. At this point, just some quick things about where I personally think the future of AI is going. So a couple of things to keep in mind. One, AI is going to get a lot smarter, very, very quickly. There are some people who think it's going to be as smart as humans by 2025, so literally within the next year. There are some people like Elon Musk who think it's going to be smarter than all humans in the world combined by 2029. So it's a very crazy thing to think about, these machines that are now smarter than humans or just as smart as humans. AI is going to inevitably automate very many jobs it already has. But I think similar to other technologies, it's going to just help people be more productive. It's going to provide very many services at a lower cost. And it's also going to create new types of jobs that we can't yet imagine. And I guess the big promise of AI in the long run is that it'll be smart enough to kind of solve some of our society's largest problems. So, think of things like being able to develop a cure for cancer, being able to figure out how to have unlimited energy and food, and things like world poverty. Within it being that smart, it might have the ability to potentially destroy humanity. I personally don't know what will happen on that front, but overall, AI is very, very exciting in terms of its impact on kind of the way that we work, our culture, kind of how we think about creativity and productivity. So very exciting stuff. But that is it. So we can now go into questions and then also potentially play around a little bit with those various tools.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's just give Roger a little co-op snap. I was not expecting to get my mind blown. I hadn't seen one of those tools there. But whoa, for sure. Really, really informative. I guess we have one hand up. Shelly?
So I have a couple of questions. First is, will you be sharing the recording and the slides with the attendees?
Yes.
My second question is, I did, I think I caught from when Roger started. I didn't see anything about like note-taking AIs, which I think are probably something quite useful to most businesses right away.
Yep.
And wondered about that, Roger, for why that was omitted. And then finally, when you made the last statements, I wondered whether you have any knowledge or information about ethical rules or laws that are going to be governing AI. Because I did actually find kind of all of the last things rather, I don't know, a little scary, really.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, so on that first point with note taking, there are definitely some really great note taking tools out there powered by AI that can record your Zoom conversations, provide you with summaries. I think Zoom actually has a little AI note taking app here as well, but certainly a use case that's very common within AI. In terms of that second question with kind of the ethics, the regulation, and compliance. I don't have a very deep understanding of that, but I am aware of the fact that, oh, yikes.
I just took your host
Okay.
privilege. You're good.
I am aware that I think the Biden administration, as well as Congress overall, have various task force that are looking into developing good regulations for AI. In terms of what those look like, I'm not too knowledgeable about that.
Okay, wonderful. Next on stack. That's you, Shelly.
Guys, thanks so much. I just had a quick question kind of along the same lines, and I can't remember the language from Roger, one of your early slides, but it was something related to kind of automating daily processes. And I use AI pretty extensively, but literally like an assistant. I've done all of the heavy lifting, and I'm going to drop something in to get it to refine or tweak.
Right.
But I don't currently use it for any like routine business processes to make more efficient that stuff that you could consider like an executive assistant might do or things like that. And I think a lot about, like just today, spent an hour doing these reports showing all that was paid out to certain contractors, which that I do have ethical concerns about tying it to any, to money or the organization or all of those things. But that's one thing I was thinking about in terms of daily processes, how to make things more efficient, more effective, and help that bottom line. So I'm wondering what ideas you guys might have or how you might be using it in those ways, in like the daily process and churning of business.
Yeah, so I think things like ChatGPT can be quite useful for those. So for instance, when it comes to daily tasks like writing emails, long emails in particular, when it comes to doing things like writing a meeting outline or potentially understanding a legal contract that you're dealing with, tools like ChatGPT that are very general can help with those. The really cool thing alongside all of that is you now have more of these tools that are popping up that are built for automating business tasks. So you have AI-powered accounting, AI-powered legal advice, and probably just, pretty much any task that you might handle within working on your business, you'll probably have a specialized AI tool for that pretty soon, if not already. But that's how I would think about it.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Joel, you're muted.
Thank you. Any questions? Shall you have your hand up? And if anyone has a prompt or a demo, a problem that you want to present, we could workshop it together. That'd be lovely. Shelly?
Yes, Roger, you mentioned a couple of times, you can check for these things. The more and more are coming out, I guess, daily, weekly.
Yeah.
Where should you go to check? Like, where would you suggest everyone, keep checking so that they can be aware of the tools as they come up?
So it's an interesting question because there's just so much happening and coming out that it's really hard to keep track. I personally use Twitter to keep track of AI news. Sometimes I'll have friends who tell me about new tools that are really cool and useful that pop up. But honestly, like one other way to approach it is to use one of these AI tools to just tell you and keep you updated on all these new things. So, for instance, with Perplexity, that chatbot that I showed, you might start using that, and maybe on a daily or weekly basis, you say, "Tell me about the latest AI tools that are relevant for my type of work, whether it's being a developer or working in marketing or something else." And it'll probably be able to provide you with a pretty comprehensive list of new tools that have come out that are relevant and potentially helpful for those tasks. So that's how I would approach it.
Great. Gail?
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Joel and Roger. That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Roger, did you say AI was around since the 1970s? Is that
Yes.
what you said? Oh, okay. I was wondering.
To my understanding, the earliest mention and kind of development of the technology dates back to the 1950s.
Mhm.
It certainly wasn't nearly as capable back then. It could only do very, very simple things, but it has been around for a very long time.
Okay, I think it's a great tool for lazy people too. No, I mean this in a good way.
Yeah.
But I also think if everyone could ask the same question and get the same thing done, then there's going to be a lot of duplication because just like you said, I mean, and that's in a good way. People can always alter and adjust because nothing could really replace human being.
Right.
But if everyone everywhere could ask the same question, then everybody's print's going to be more or less like pilferage, right? Like, that kind of way. So I think that's the only thing to it. But I mean, that's the way the world is going now. Nobody really used their brain.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get busy, maybe growing plants or taking care of our pets and children
That's
and
right.
let the computer just get
That's
all the
right.
information for us.
That's
Yeah.
how I see it.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think
I want to be outside.
yeah, completely. I think about it in a similar way where, AI will probably have the ability to automate or just completely, or basically automate a lot of the knowledge tasks that we might have to do, whether it's, writing some type of document or making decisions or generating ideas. But what it won't be able to replicate or automate is that human element. So being able to have a conversation and really connect with someone, being able to do things like take care of an older parent or someone who might be sick in your family because it's a machine. It doesn't necessarily have that human capability. And with that tool that I showed, it's getting better with that. But I don't think it'll necessarily be able to outperform human connection that we all have.
Roger, I actually want to take that as a segue. Perhaps I give you sharing privileges again because I wanted to show people some nuances, some things that I like to use that I think are important to at least show, right? So like back to your, if you don't mind sharing your ChatGPT example, because I deal with folks who have language barriers, like Spanish is their primary language. They speak English quite well, but if you really ask them, they'd rather talk in Spanish, right? And so I just like to show
Joel,
yep.
I'm sorry, I want to interrupt you because you're going on a total never. And I want to mention to Roger, you might want to look it up. What you just said about the elderly. I just shared an article last week on iRobots for elders.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah. So under the home care. So go ahead, Joe.
Right.
So you see where you have like vanilla cupcakes recipe, or you can start a new chat. That's fine. Like so a couple of nuances that I like to do is from the beginning, tell the chat how I want to interact with it. So one thing I say, I'm going to write in English, but everything you say, respond in Spanish.
I want you to do. So reply in Spanish. Anything else?
Talk in a way that is not robotic, but human. And whatever I'm doing, give me an option to make it better. So like these basic introductory context builders, if you will, help a lot. Help a lot, right? Especially if you're writing content that's for multiple audiences in different languages. You can tell that to the AI immediately from the jump. Hey, by the end of this thing that we're working on, I want to make sure that you know everything that you're going to produce. I want it in English, in Spanish, in Japanese, and whatever. You know what I mean? That's really cool to me, I think, to make it really accessible really quickly, right? Another way that I use it is the GPTs themselves. There's one in particular that's called PDF Viewer, which allows me to take all kinds of information that I come across, put it up, import it, right? And it automatically knows everything in that document. And I can be extremely specific then. Let me give you an example. As I'm applying for grants for our co-op, these documents that tell you the guidelines, all the different criterias on how they're going to judge you, they have to make that information public, especially government contracts. They have to make all that information very, very, very clear on how they're judging you, what are the different things and all that. And it's all in this document that your mind goes blank when you start reading these because it's just so dense. But you put it in this, and you could literally workshop with it as if you had a person directly from that grant making agency talking to you. Right. So if you had any doubt, can I use this to apply for that? Based on the reading of the guy, right? It's just like, so it's if you want to the word interpretation, that's what it's going to do. But you could also ask it to give you a nuanced interpretation, right? So like just showing that flexibility of the tool.
Do you want to try some examples or some experiments?
Well, we got 5 minutes. I'm curious if anybody has any thoughts around that. I want to give the space to any other folks on if they have an example that they want us to quickly workshop through. Any ideas, anyone? No? Okay, people's brains, I'm telling you, blew their minds, Roger. I'm telling you, this is good.
Maybe people can say like what business their co-ops do, and then Roger, maybe you might think of you know, a prompt to go in and get something for him.
Let's
so
try it
maybe
out.
that'll be a little easier.
Yep. Translation interpretation. I mean, right off the bat, that's huge. That's a huge resource.
Some others that want to type in. I know.
So everyone, just in case you don't know, Shelly Miller's my co-worker and colleague at the ICA group. And so if you do have any additional questions, you'll also hear from, she's part of my team. She's the director of new ownership opportunities. Just want to introduce her because some of you might know Shelly. Retail services and family businesses.
And I think she left, but I know nanny services was the other person who spoke earlier. So that's one.
I know folks from my farm are here, the farm co-op. I know we have marketing and advertising.
We can try, looks like there are 2 requests for translation. So we can demo that really quickly.
Yeah.
So what's a good example? Let's say,
well, you can write, let's say, a social media campaign, right? And that's usually how I try to do it as well. When I did the invitation and the copy for this event, I did it all in English, and then I had to translate it.
But I'm thinking going back even further.
What are you thinking?
Well, it's like, okay, I have this kind of business, it's like, what are the first 5 things I should make sure this business is taken care of, something like that.
Okay, yeah, let's try that. So I'm starting a small business, a coffee shop.
Well, the translation interpretation, you can make it that business.
Starting a translation business.
Yeah, I think that's the topic you wanted to do, right?
Let's do it. A translation business in New York City. What are 3 things I need to know before starting? Reply in Spanish. So ChatGPT's thinking, and here we go.
And I'd love it if somebody who reads Spanish could interpret to us what it tells us to do. You can just do the high level bold.
Know your market, certificates and credentials, regulations, and legal requisites.
Pretty cool. And then, I mean, I think it's, it goes beyond Spanish, and I think it has a lot of, so translate this to Chinese or Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Oh,
So,
wow.
It's pretty capable of a lot. So it can do that, translate this to the most random language and tell me which one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, how is it going to determine what's the most random language? That seems kind of hard.
Esperanto.
Right.
Not really sure what that is, but
It's an invented international auxiliary language, so it's not a legit language.
okay.
Random.
So yeah, very, very powerful.
What
so
about somebody put in a retail business? So can we ask a question for that one?
Sure.
I think it's at a retail and family business or something.
maybe you want to try
Like maybe ask something. What's the best way for my retail business to acquire customers?
Gail, you have a question, Gail?
More or less like a comment, because as Shelley rightfully say, I'm a worker owner at Hopewell Care Childcare Cooperative, and it's predominantly Spanish speakers. So most of our meetings have to be translated. So are you saying that this could be a tool that we don't need interpretation, and maybe we can find some way to have people's comment? No, I'm just looking forward. I see Aldo say, "Oh,
Yes.
what's
No,
going
Yeah.
on?" No, but
Yeah.
I'm just being real, right? I'm not here
Yeah.
to offend
No,
anybody, but I'm
absolutely.
just saying, there are times, as you rightfully say, and I'm playing like that, so sorry, but I mean it. As you rightfully say, there are times people could speak both languages or more than one, but they rather speak the language that's most comfortable, and sometimes that creates a wall, because if Joel speaks Spanish and Joel choose to, speak English, and he choose, okay, I'm not.
Really quickly on that note,
Did we lose Gail's audio?
I think so.
Gail, you still there?
Against the other, it
Oh, there you go.
feels like a protection. Yeah.
Sorry, didn't catch the last 10 seconds of what you said. Would you mind repeating that?
Yes, sorry, my internet is unstable. You hearing me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm saying there are times, there's spaces where people are fluent in both, and they know that they know English, but they choose not to, which
Right.
is their choice. I'm not talking about when people English is not good, and
Yeah.
there's nothing like good English. Sometimes communication is about communicating. It's not about how proper the grammar is. It's just as long as somebody could understand you to move on, because people used to send up smoke to communicate back in the
Right.
Right. So really quickly on that, and I know we're at time, but AI now has the ability to translate language in real time. So you might be on a Zoom call with someone who speaks a different language. The AI can take what they're saying in their language and convert it or translate it to English or whatever language you might want it to be. So a quick demo of that, just to show you just a remarkable development from last night. Just watch this video really quickly.
To the future, you can use HeyGen to create natural HeyGen's videos can be futuro. Hoy
So-
queremos darle un B.
This video is completely generated in AI. This is not something that was actually recorded, but you have a guy walking, talking in English.
Natural HeyGen's videos can be. Let me switch to Spanish. Hoy queremos darle un vistazo al futuro. Puede utilizar HeyGen para crear contenido.
So now this tool, HeyGen, has now translated this this guy's words into Spanish, which is pretty remarkable. So yeah, I mean, it's very possible that you would have these tools that make it easy to talk with people in different languages in real time.
I have one last question from Adriana. How do copywriters find the sourcing, I guess, in ChatGPT when you ask it? Adriana, do you mind asking the question? A little hard to understand. If you're able to unmute yourself.
Oh, I can ask the question in English.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The question is, how do you give the source? Where are you getting the information with ChatGPT?
Where's the sourcing? I think there's little sourcing icons that they've added now, right?
Yeah, so with ChatGPT specifically, it's not necessarily designed to give you citations or sources, but something like Perplexity has that ability. So in this case, it'll tell me, no, this answer is coming from these 5 sources. So you might want to use a tool that has that feature set.
Right. Wonderful, everyone. Thank you very much. This has been very informative. I'm sure we'll do another one and it'll be completely outdated. This will be completely outdated in a few months. Please, if you have not filled out the attendance form, really appreciate that. And we will be sharing both presentations, the initial intro and Roger's presentation that's also available in Spanish in a few hours or maybe in 24 hours or so. So look out for that. Yeah, and with that, we'll close. Thank you very much for joining us on your lunch hour.
Yeah, thank you all. And I just want to say, please let us know, is this the kind of thing that you'd like us to bring to you, the kind of educational things we can bring to you that it's helpful to you, or other types of topics. I know we have a social media, I always quote the wrong thing, compass coming up to help you like master the best way to use that. That's tricky for all small businesses. So, just let us know. That's what we're here for. And we want you to definitely reach out and use us.
All right. Thanks, Shelley. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Amazing
Thanks,
job.
Roger. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.